In this video, I'll be talking about adding and subtracting integers. And remember, integers are what we started with in the video yesterday. We're going to start with adding, and we'll get to subtracting later. When you're adding integers with the same sign, like 3 plus 5, I think you all know the answer to 3 plus 5. It is 10. No, just kidding. It's 8. The same thing is true if you add two negative numbers. So negative 3 plus negative 5 is also 8, but it's negative 8. So if you were to add 3 plus 7, you would get 10, and then negative 3 plus negative 7 would be negative 10. So it's pretty simple when they have the same sign. And when they have different signs, it's actually like subtracting. What we have here is a negative 3 plus 5. And if we use a number line here, we pull in a number line. No, not that one. Here we go. So let's say we had a number line. And if we look for negative 3 on here, negative 3, and let's say negative 2, negative 1, there's 0, 1, 3, and so on. So if we have negative 3 plus 5, what we're doing is we're starting at negative 3, and then we're moving 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's right where 2 would be. So negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Now, if we had 3 plus negative 5, that would mean we would start at, let me get rid of that. So 3 plus negative 5, we'd be starting up here at 3, and then we go backwards 5. So first of all, I better label these again. Negative 1, negative 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that would be negative 2. As you can see, it's kind of like subtraction. 5 minus 3 is 2. Again, 5 minus 3 is 2, but since this is negative, it's negative. So if you remember from yesterday's video, we talked about absolute value. So when you're adding things with different signs, what you can do is think of them in terms of absolute value. So this 5 here is a 5, and this negative 3 here is a 3, and we're going to subtract them. So you can do 5 minus 3 is 2, and then you see, well, this one was positive, the biggest one was positive, so my answer is going to be positive. Whereas this one, you take the absolute value, which is 5, same thing with the 3, so 5 minus 3, and you're going to get 2. Except in this one, the biggest number was a negative 1. So the answer is going to be negative 2 because it starts farther away from 0. So adding 3 doesn't quite make it back to 0. You're still 2 on the negative side. Let's do some more practice with that. So 5 plus negative 4, you're starting over at 5 on the number line, and then you're taking away 4. Okay, so you're starting at 5, and you go back to 4, 3, 2, 1. So you don't quite make it back to 0 because the absolute value of 5 is bigger than the absolute value of 4. So you're doing 5 minus 4 equals 1, and it's positive. Now number 2 on the practice, this is like ones we did earlier. Remember, when they have the same sign, don't forget it's easy. You just do 5 plus 2, and since they're both negative, it's negative. Same thing with number 3. 18 plus 16 is 34, but since they're both negative, then this is negative. And negative 23 plus 8. So since they have different signs, we're going to subtract them. 23 minus 8 is 15, I believe. Okay, but then the biggest number was negative, so the 23 was the negative one, so we're at negative 15. Because on a number line, if we're starting way over at negative 23, adding 8 isn't going to get us to 0. It's just going to get us to negative 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? It'll just get us to negative 15. Oops. Well, that didn't work out too well. Let's try that again. Negative 15. Alright, let's take a look at subtracting. So subtracting is different, but we only have to do one thing to make it the same as adding. To subtract an integer, add the opposite. Okay, so what does that mean? To subtract an integer, we add the opposite. And actually, this doesn't really have to be an integer. This works for decimals, and it works for fractions and integers, whole numbers, all kinds of numbers. So to subtract a number, add the opposite. So always use that first number. That doesn't change. Now we're going to change that to adding. So we're going to add, and we're going to change this to its opposite. And the opposite of 6, as we talked about last night, was negative 6. Okay. And then when you're adding things with different signs, just like before, we subtract them. So 6 minus 4 is 2. And then we think, oh wait, the 6 was negative, and that's the biggest one, so the answer will be negative 2. So 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Okay. Keep in mind, we're going to keep adding the opposite here. So on this next one, we start with the first number, always stays the same. This changes to addition, and this changes to the opposite. So the opposite of negative 5 is 5. Before I continue with that, let's go on to the next one. So negative 1 stays the same. This changes to addition, and we take the opposite of 5. So now we have negative 5. So going back, so now we have negative 2 plus 5. Since we're adding things with different signs, we actually subtract them. So 5 minus 2 is 3. And the biggest number was positive, so the answer will be positive. Getting down to this last problem, we have, let me get these out of the way. We have negative 5 and negative 1. They now have the same sign, so it's easy to add them. Negative 1 plus negative 5 is negative 6. And that's it for the video. Don't forget to fill out the form below.